going. Okay. Hey, welcome back to Mindfuck Ministries. This is the platform and the channel where I want to blow your mind in a way that motivates you to expand your consciousness and achieve higher states of spiritual realness and reality. Today, the message is you are chosen to go to that next level. You have that divine spark that is going to take you exactly where you need to go. And I'll tell you exactly how we're going to do it. We're going to activate and create a higher level of consciousness for you and for your partner. And we're going to do it on the basis of using these two books. One is for females, and the other is for the men. Women, men. This is about cultivating the sexual energy. These books have been created by Montauk Chia. I use them. They are go-to books, essential if you are, looking to raise your vibration, raise your consciousness, become unfazed and invincible in the world. Essentially, the best way to become unfazed and invincible in the world, to not let the headlines, the media, the nonsense, the bullshit get to you. The best way to create an invincible, impermeable shield around yourself is to develop and cultivate your own sexual energy. We have the ability and the potential to use the things that are created within our own body to take us to higher and higher levels of consciousness. It's so exciting to understand that and to know that we are self-sustaining organisms, that we don't need to go outside of ourselves and do anything like that. The archetype of the vampire, and the energy vampire, it essentially makes no sense if you read these books. There's no reason why anyone should need to vampire or leech any kind of energy off of anyone else. You have it all within yourself, sustained within yourself. Now, women, they have separate, different techniques, but in this book, essentially there's techniques that teach women how to stop their menstrual cycle at will and start it again whenever they want to, without any real any real problems, or it's not gonna like harm you, like taking some kind of birth control pill or anything like that. This is the natural way to halt your menstrual cycle whenever you want to not get pregnant, to bring it back when you want to get pregnant, things of that nature, to use the blood from your uterine linings, from the walls, to nutritionalize yourself, to nourish yourself, to bring all that back to yourself, to use the energy of sexual stimulation to raise your consciousness. And this, for men, there's a lot of talk out there going on about semen retention, huge on the internet nowadays. But semen retention without circulation, without knowing how to cultivate, without knowing how to store the energy, without knowing how to make it move throughout your body, is essentially just asking for an extremely frustrated and uptight man, right? We got the Andrew Tates of the world. We have the manosphere. We have all that stuff talking about don't give anything to a woman. Don't give any love or any kind of recognition to a woman. And yes, there's a lot of craziness going out there in the world. There's a lot of, people, men and women, who are predators and want to take advantage of other people and use their sexual wiles and their feminine traits or their masculine ways to get what they want and control people. And I'll go back to this point and reiterate it. I was trying to do the live stream earlier, but I'll do it again and talk about basically the three taboos in our society, which are sex, religion, and politics. And politics is less of a taboo than it was prior to 2014. But back before 2014, it's like politics was a taboo. Politics was, don't talk about it. This is not what we talk about. Religion, we don't talk about religion. sex. We don't talk about sex. These are no-nos to discuss and talk about in our society, but these are the things that keep people trapped and enshrined in ignorance because they don't understand, because we don't talk about these things. People stay and remain ignorant. And the funniest thing about these three elements, sex, religion, politics, is they're all controlled by sexual energy. All of them are controlled by sexual energy. I'm not going to get into that again now, but essentially you can check and see how politics, it's about controlling people's sexual identity, controlling people's sexuality, controlling it, trying to legislate it. Religion is about trying to shame people away from their sexual identity, their sexual inclinations and emotions and different energies surrounding that. And there is some good, right? There's not all bad and all good when it comes to things that human beings do. Like the good things about religion is it's trying to set a certain standard and guidelines for people to do things in a natural way it's hygienic and, basically sets people up for being a part of a good society, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Same thing with politics, but these things all can get out of line, and people are mostly kept under control through their own ignorance of their own sexual power and the power that comes from understanding how to cultivate their own sexual energy. So we're going to get into this and we're going to talk about it a little bit here. And the essential key to understand about this is that your emotions, and I'm not going to give away all the sauce, right? I'm not going to give away all the sauce, not in this one video, but because there's so much to cover. But I'm not going to give away all the sauce, obviously for many different reasons, right? But the main concept is you have and create on a daily basis cells, materials, organisms within your body that are contributing to the fuel and the engine of your body. We are like mini factories that not only produce the raw materials, but we can also refine the raw materials as well. The problem is that side of the factory, the refinement side of the factory, has been shut down and has not been started in forever, right? Because we don't know how to do it. And this is what I think should be taught in every church. It should be taught in every school, given the appropriate age, in college and things. It's how to cultivate your own sexual energy so that you are not a victim or a slave to your sexual desires and your urges. This is the number one thing that I came to understand as soon as I started doing this work over 15 years ago of cultivating my own energy and semen retention. I don't like the word semen retention because it's not just retention. It's not just retaining it. It is cultivating it. It is circulating it. It is absorbing it and transmuting it. It's sexual alchemy. It's taking it to another level. It's not just retention. And so that's where people get misunderstood and misaligned there. But this is about taking the raw materials, refining them, and bringing them to a higher level of consciousness, using that ability, and then interacting with your partner while you're having intercourse so that you guys can have a tremendous climax together. I can tell you about so many different experiences that I've had where, me and my partner, we've, had just some of the most amazing simultaneous orgasms, and we're basically synced up, where that's essentially every time we have an orgasm when we're having intercourse or sex, it's together, it's at the same time. But a lot of it is the breathing technique, a lot of it is the way in which you choose to go into the sexual intercourse. It's preparation, but essentially it can be one partner doing most of the work. If you're aware and you're conscious enough, and you've been doing the work and the routine of doing this, and this is all qigong. This is all qigong yoga, right? It's not anything crazy. It's just a specific form of energy work that utilizes a lot of breathing and controls over different muscle groups, and this more specifically muscle groups on the lower part of your body, so that you can have orgasms without ejaculation. as a man, so that you can have multiple orgasms as a man, so that you can go all night long if you want to as a man, because you have that ability to control yourself. You have that ability to manage yourself. And this is, it has been an amazing journey to understand myself more and more on a deeper level, understand what goes on in here while you're having sex. Men know having sex is a mental game, right? It's like, if you want to not come too quickly and orgasm too quickly, then you got to keep your head in check and keep your head in the game. But moreover than that, when you're trying to also have an orgasm with no ejaculation, you also have to keep your body in a similar state of being as well. There is no point in time where you just totally lose yourself until you are skilled, highly skilled at managing these techniques. So anyway, we're going to talk about this. Why is it important to do this? Why is it important? Number one, we live in a world where everything is a thirst trap now. Everybody is trying to get your attention, and the best way to grab your attention is to grab your genitals. As a man, it's very annoying to me to live in a society where everybody's trying to sexually arouse me, but then at the same time, they want to shame me for having sexual thoughts, right? It's very confusing to live in a world where every commercial, every, advertisement is looking to pique my interest in a sexual manner, to turn me on, but then shame me later on down the line and say, oh, I'm nothing but a hound dog. I'm nothing but a deviant. And that's a problem. I personally have I don't know if I want to say I've overcome it or transcended it, but it's not really a big deal to me. But I know that a lot of men are confused, and that makes men extremely angry, and then they don't even know why they're angry. They don't even know why they're angry at society. It's because society's trying to wind you up, and then when you're ready to go, they're like, why are you ready to go? There's nothing going on here. You need to calm yourself down. You need to this is toxic. This is absolutely toxic behavior. Well, listen, I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling, and I'm not even looking for this stuff, and it pops up on my feed because it knows I'm a young male between the ages of 25 and 55 or whatever, and it's showing me all these thirst traps all over. And then, I turn on the television, and then I go outside, and it's just everywhere. And then I'm watching YouTube, and a commercial pops up, and these things are all over the place. And so it's very important to be master of your own body, of your own domain, of your own energy. And when you're master of your own sexual energy, you can enjoy the beauty or the attractiveness of an individual and not get drawn into it to the point where you feel like you're losing a part of yourself, or you feel like you're going to go crazy if you can't have that person, or if you're going to, you become very frustrated. This is the beauty of controlling and managing and being the captain of your own ship and controlling your sexual energy. Your sexual desires are not bad. They're not wrong. They shouldn't be shamed. They're actually fuel for higher states of consciousness when they are regulated. And so when you see someone that is drop dead gorgeous, or if you're looking at somebody that you find very attractive, you can take that energy and whatever that emotion is that's stirred up within you, if you know how to circulate it along the right channels and the right pathways and move it to the right chakras and the right positions within your physical form, right? You can then take that energy to higher and higher level states of consciousness. It's the same kind of understanding of, like, if we start a fire, what is the product of fire? It's going to be smoke, right? So it's a refinement of the elements that are being burnt. So what can you do? You can take that smoke and you can trap it. And then what happens after that? Oh, it becomes ash, right? It condenses again, and then it becomes like little flaky, powdery dust, right? This is the transmutation of different elements of things within your body. And so the same is true, not just with semen, right? But just with emotions. on an emotional level. Montauk Chia wrote several books about this, about changing and transmuting the emotions, because that is the kind of number one skill set that an energy worker needs to be able to do, in order to have and you know experience higher and higher states of consciousness. If you cannot transmute the emotion of anger into something like motivation, or if you can't transmute sadness into a creative force, if you cannot change and manage your emotions, and if they stay stuck in one pattern, you're not moving with the flow of the universe. The flow of the universe is that it's in a constant state of flux. It's in a constant state of change. Things don't look like they're changing, but they definitely are. If you had the ability to view things on a subatomic level, and you see all the particles and the quarks and the finer materials of the universe, you would see dynamism all around you. You'd see tiny little explosions happening all around you all the time. Because we have this dense vision of reality, and we think everything is physical and we can touch it and all this other stuff, we don't think things are changing. We don't think that there's things that are happening that are constantly happening. But in reality, metaphysics, people who are metaphysic theorists say that we are blinking in and out of existence all the time at such a rapid rate that one could even say that we are blinking in and out of a different reality all the time. I'm here, I'm out of reality, and I've blinked into a new reality. This is why they say manifestation is possible. You can turn something around on a dime, right? And we don't usually see life that way. We see it in a series of moving pictures. But that is the way our universe works. And so being able to transmute emotions from one moment to the next and changing them and taking something from a negative emotion and moving it into a higher emotion is a skill set that is 100% necessary. So that way, when you go into the realm and the sphere of sexual energy and desire, that's an even stronger feeling, because your body is so much more involved, your mind is so much more involved, and your emotions are involved in a way that they are not involved when you're having another type of emotion like anger, happiness, sadness, fear, whatever. Although I will say fear is probably one of the stronger types of emotions that we can have. And so when you have the sexual desire, it is very vital. Transmute that mug. Move that motherfucker to a higher plane of existence. Move that motherfucker to a higher level within your own body consciousness. Right? Within your own body consciousness. Move it up. Refine it. Refine it. Just like the logs turn into smoke. Just like that. And when you do that, you will have a new sense of what higher states of consciousness really are. Higher states of consciousness are almost like being drunk or being high without the cloudiness, without the fuzziness, without your mind and your thoughts being clouded by, whatever, delusions or misperceptions, malperceptions. It's almost like you have a more clear perception of reality, but with the feeling that lack of inhibition, the lack of, constriction. It's a beautiful thing. And so what I'm also referring to is having that higher level orgasm, right? The one that takes place all throughout your body, and then also in your head, in your crown chakra, in your third eye chakra, having one of those third eye chakra orgasms. Those are the best. They're phenomenal. And they continue to expand. And if you can have one of those, they also open up your gateways of perception in a whole nother way. All right. I'm going to stop, ranting about that and just get back to the main point of what I'm trying to say. You can have a divine cosmic orgasmic connection with your partner that establishes something that is so much more subtle than any other type of love connection that you'll have otherwise. But the key is to learn how to transmute your own emotions, how to be conscious of your own emotions while you're having an activity happening, while you're in the process, while you're also being in touch with your body and managing your body and your, body parts that are in the act, right? And then also being able to manage what's going on with your partner, being connected with them, and then sharing those energies with them, because energies extend beyond our physical form. It's having that ability to be further in touch with yourself, no pun intended, but to be on a more refined level of understanding of who you are. And these things are all stemming from an assumption that we have opened up our minds, we have opened up our states of consciousness to higher levels previously. But this can all be done. And so when you have that, when you're, building up to climax, there's a lot of different things that are, talked about in this book, talked about in The Multi-Orgasmic Man, but, there's, processes where you're cycling, where you're breathing, where you're sipping, where you're, moving the sexual energy fluid up, and it's moving out of your, if you're a man, it's no longer in your nutsack. It's going up to, higher levels in your body. If you're a woman, it's also doing the same thing. You're moving and cycling, the energies around for both partners. And then finally, when you guys are coming to that moment of climax, it's about sharing and holding that moment together. It's a truly beautiful thing. I I teach this all the time to people that I know, because I've become pretty good at it, and more so just with my particular partner, my spouse, just because that's who I'm doing it with the most. But this can be done. And when you have this kind of connection with somebody, it is something that you can actively together take you to another level of consciousness. After you've had these kinds of experiences, it's very, very difficult to want to indulge lower or lesser forms of interaction when it comes to the ways of love, when it comes to connecting with another individual and connecting with their body, their mind, their soul, their spirit, their energy field. So this is how it's done. This is essentially what this is all about. We are all made from this stuff. It is the creative substance that creates every single human being, that multiplies over and over and over again to formulate a spine, a brain, organs, lungs, bones, skin, all that stuff. The thing that can literally create a whole human life. Why could it not be the energy that you need to take your body and take your mind to the next level? The reason why a lot of people who choose to do other stuff more on the dark side, if they're more vampiric and they're dealing in states of consciousness that are about lack and limitation, the reason why they go that route, because it's like Yoda said, it's quicker, easier, more seductive. It is definitely quicker to steal the energy. It's easier. It's more seductive, right? It feels good in the moment, but it's also fleeting. It leaves you so much more because it didn't belong to you in the first place. If it's something that belongs to you and you're just refining it and holding it and circulating it and transmuting it to a higher level, then it's yours. It will stay with you. But if it's stolen, good. You'll have that bump for a while, but then after that, good luck. Everybody who's in the spiritual community, I say everybody because I'm just being generalistic, but many people within the spiritual community, many people within realms and the arenas of conspiracy understand that there's all these different ways that one can raise their awareness or have a quick bump, like a drug hit that comes from energy, that comes from chemicals and fluid from a human being's body, right? This is the whole concept of Dracula and vampires and all that stuff, the lore. What we're talking about here is about being a positive vampire of yourself. You're not even being a vampire, because the term vampire implies that you're stealing or sucking. You're not even doing that. You're taking the energy that you already create on a daily basis and using it and refining it yourself to give yourself more energy, to give yourself more power, more wisdom, more spiritual awareness. Why would you not do that? Like, why would you glorify this other modality that is negative, that is a thievery, that is a violation of somebody else's rights? Why would you glorify that instead of teaching people how to do this, which is very simple? Most people don't want a lightning quick path of spiritual awareness. If they say they do, they probably don't understand what it really entails. They probably don't understand, oh, you're going to start seeing spirits walking around and hearing voices from the astral plane, and you're going to start having these extremely emotional and spiritual experiences that make everyday life much more challenging. Oh, that's a part of it as well. If you told people that and they understood that, most people wouldn't want a rapid spiritual awakening. What people want is a gradual spiritual awakening with greater and greater knowledge and intellect and information about things. But they don't necessarily want the whole kit and caboodle where they are receiving psychic downloads all the time, or their whole experience is being overturned by the knowledge of things that are beyond the realm of physical perception. No. Most people want the basic stuff. They just want to feel more in touch with God. They just want to feel more in touch with the universe. They just want to feel more in touch with all that is. And that's beautiful. That's great. I think that's what everybody should be doing. And so the people who choose the path of quick, rapid ascension through the ways of the dark side are really just asking for a karmic whiplash that will, it's not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be something that's to be admired. And I said this, it's just not something that you really should be interested in. And that's just my take on it. But that is what we're talking about. That is the divine message that I have for you. Is this is how you activate higher levels of spiritual consciousness. Unfortunately, people are going to say, oh, that's crazy. It's through sex. Yeah, it is through sex. It's through the sexual energy that you embody and that you have within yourself. You could take that and manifest it and transmute it. And that is Tantra. That is the basis of all that we're talking about. But this is the basic fundamental understanding of how that works, how it can be utilized, how it can be managed, how you get this connection with your spouse, with your partner, with your girlfriend, boyfriend, whomever, significant other. You can have that higher level of spiritual connection with anyone, really, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you're a very advanced person who understands that their choices are their choices and no one else's choices. You can't control other people. You can't, dictate to other people. This is something that I'm just giving the bare bones and bare minimum, because if I give any more information, awareness, and understanding of my experiences, that information could be misused. And so I'm not going to do that here, because I could tell people all different types of things that have worked for me in the past and things that I've done and tried, experiences that I have had that are amazing, experiences that I've had when I've dabbled with the dark side, which is why I can easily talk about it. I haven't gone nearly as far as some people that are, are famous for it, but we all have to make certain, detours along our path. And so I will not, on a public video, talk about how to actually do specific things, because the information could be easily misused. But I do want to make people aware that you are powerful. When someone says you are powerful, you are a powerful being, they are not lying. They are not lying. You have so much energy and potential within you. And I did spend a lot more time in this video talking about men. I should spend more time talking about women, because women have that ability as well. As I was saying in a previous video, you can stop your menstruation at will, start it again at will. If you know the techniques, if you know how to do these things, if you know, and it really is just all breathing and internal manipulation, internal conscious control. It's really quite beautiful, the human body. We've been designed by a benevolent, beautiful, wonderful God, entity, creator, that has given us all the keys to the kingdom, all the tools that we need to become as close to that intelligence as we possibly can get. And so this is the spiel on this. This is the message. I hope that it reaches the right people. I hope that you learn and grow from this knowledge. I hope you get these books. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out.